But when it comes to purchasing a new home, are you sure you know what to be aware of? Home inspectors can be expensive, so before you shell out those big bucks, it's important that you know everything that should be checked. Here to help, Richard Roll, president of the American Homeowners Association. Richard, welcome.
Hi, Jerry.
Let's start with the basics. What is an inspection? We just need a basic definition because I think a lot of people out there don't know what to expect.
Well, Jerry, before you buy a used home, or even in many cases a new home, you want to have the home inspected by a professional. A lot of people don't realize this, but the FTC a few years ago found that about 42% of people who buy a home find unexpected problems after closing that cost them over $500 on average. And about 20% are even more than that.
Well, I think that's, not good news, especially after you shelled out all the bucks for the house, then to find even more problems that you have to deal with later. What can I expect when I go on that inspection? And you should go on the inspection with the inspector when we do the actual, look at the house.
Yeah, well, you definitely should be there when the inspection is taking place. And a professional home inspection is going to cover 1,000 checkpoints on 400 different items around your home. It's going to look at the systems, including the appliances, the electrical system, the plumbing system, heating, your water heater, your air conditioning. And it's also going to look at the foundation, the exterior and interior walls. It's going to look at the roof. It's going to look at all the sources of things like moisture that may be occurring in the home. So those 400 items are going to be tested to make sure that you're not going to get an unpleasant surprise.
1,000 points, that's a lot. Now, I know a lot of people out there, they're in a bidding war. They're saying, you know what, I just won't do the inspection if it speeds up the process and if it allows my bid to get more serious attention. Is that a good idea?
It's really not a good idea. It creates problems during the closing process if unexpected problems arise. It is important to have a professional, and the nice thing about having a professional inspector, who's usually with one of the affiliated agencies, the professional associations, so you make sure that they are qualified, not somebody who is your neighbor or a contractor or what have you, somebody who's going to really be thorough and objective. What you're going to find is that it makes the negotiating process easier, it's objective, it's professional, it's thorough, and you're going to get a complete report.
I know a lot of people, you said, don't hire your brother or your brother-in-law. A lot of people do that. Any other pitfalls you can warn our viewers against?
Well, the main thing is after you've reviewed the house, obviously you've decided to buy it, make sure you come and are there for the inspection. Come with a checklist of the things that are your concerns and questions. The inspector is going to go through and open and try all of the different appliances and things and make sure that things are working correctly.
Now, how much am I going to pay for this inspection? Because I've heard numbers across the map, really.
Well, a home inspection is typically in the range of $300 around the country. Sometimes it's a little more depending on the region, but it's well worth the money.
Yeah, I think so, too. Let's walk through some of the special things that you might get inspected. I know we talked about all the systems of the house, whether it's electrical or plumbing or what have you, but there are some environmental considerations like radon. Tell us what that is and how it can be inspected for.
Radon is an odorless, colorless gas. What it is it's the byproduct of radioactive decay of soil, and it can happen anywhere around the country. Radon has been shown by the EPA to be the second largest cause of lung cancer, and therefore they recommend everybody have a radon test for any home that's within 3 floors of the ground.
Well, Richard, can I do that on my own?
You can do a do-it-yourself radon test. They have short-term tests and long-term tests that are available, and if you're having a home inspection, I would recommend having it as part of the home inspection. Let a professional do it. Make sure that you get the right protection that you're looking for.
Yeah, and we're looking at right now at things you can test for on your own. What else would fall into that list, do you think? Radon, maybe. Anything else that I could test for myself with maybe a kit I buy at the local hardware store?
You can test for lead if you have a concern that you're looking at a house that was built before 1978 and it may have lead paint. You can test for that yourself. Again, as part of a professional home inspection, though, you can get all of that as a comprehensive, professional, independent report. It makes a lot of sense to do that.
But this is more cost, adding on to more cost. One of the things I know people are very interested in right now, and we talked about it just a moment ago, mold. Now, will a regular inspector be able to determine whether or not my house has mold?
A home inspector is going to look for sources of moisture that may be occurring either in bathrooms because of leaks or in basements and other areas. And if there are visible signs of mold, they're going to recommend some sort of remediation for the mold. Also, you can get indoor air testing, and that is very important to determine if you do have evidence of mold, if it's serious, if it's significant, and if it's going to impact the possible health of you and your family.
Now, does everybody do the indoor air quality test for mold, or is that something extra I have to pay more for?
It's really important to do if you find evidence of mold around the house.
Okay, so I'd have to see the mold first, then I get the indoor air quality test, right?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
And the same thing with water.
Tell me about the water test, because I know people are really interested in this as well.
People are concerned about the quality of their water, and it's not only the water that comes from the public sources, the public utilities, but it's the process of getting the water to your tap. So it's worth having water tested at the point of where it's coming out of the tap itself. Okay. And that should be done by an EPA-rated laboratory.
And would I ask my inspector about this, or do I have to hire someone special?
Most home inspectors who are professional in their field will be able to either conduct a water test for you or refer you to the appropriate people.
Well, Richard Roll, thanks so much for your help today.
I'm very happy to be here.